fun this morning. Since we're the first one, we want to try to kick off things and get started on time. And maybe we'll end on time. So, glad to be with you this morning. My name's Josh Johnson, K5MHV. I'm from Newington, Connecticut at ARRL headquarters and up there. And you might guess that no, I'm not a native New Englander. Born and raised in Arkansas. Spent 17 years as the County Emergency Management Director in Johnson County, Arkansas. Went to ARRL originally as the Director of Emergency Management, and last November took on the role also of all the field services, which means I work with all the section managers, all the clubs, I manage the affiliated club program, and all that at ARRL headquarters. So good to be with you this morning. I'm also happy to be able to share this year. We're going to talk about it a little bit more in a little bit, about our year of the club and some of the things that we've been doing and some of the new things we've started throughout the year, and we'll give you a highlight on that. But first off, before I give you the rest of that update, I am happy to have Dr. Lisa Shire with me here today. She's president of the Huntsville Area Young Ladies Amateur Radio Club and past president of the Huntsville Amateur Radio Club. So Lisa's going to start off. She has got, from what I've understood, and I haven't seen, I'm looking forward to seeing this presentation up front, but I have been told she has got a great presentation talk. She's enthusiastic about clubs, and that's important. And I think we're going to tie this back here in a little bit, how enthusiasm and activity helps to build what we've got going with our clubs. So Lisa, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Okay. All right, so we all want vibrant clubs. We all want ham radio to grow and thrive and continue to thrive. And let's talk a little bit about how those two things go together. So we're basically talk about three things in this talk. We're talking about why we need vibrant clubs. I mean, you can go and you can get a license. That makes you a ham, right? So why do you need a club? Who is out there that we really need to reach? And then what a vibrant club looks like. We kind of have some ideas, but what are some of the characteristics of vibrant clubs that keep them vibrant clubs or make them vibrant clubs? Okay, why do you need a club? New hams, they get their license, and then it's a now what? That better? All right. So new hams get their license, and most of them say, well, now what? Maybe I need a radio. Okay, there's 100 different kinds. How do I get connected so that when I transmit, there's somebody on the other end? How do I even transmit? How do I set up my radio, particularly if you're thinking about using repeaters or something like that? Now, those of us who aren't new hams, we need new ideas and new inspirations. There's so many different aspects to ham radio that no one could possibly do all of them in a lifetime. But sometimes we get in a rut, and sometimes there's new things that come out, and maybe there's new things that we want to try. Well, clubs are often one of the ways we find out about those new things. How do we do it? Usually because there's somebody else in the club who's doing that, whether it's Meshtastic or FT8 or PODA, or you can make your own list. Okay. And then this one's a really biggie. All of us hams are human beings, and all human beings need social connection. We had lockdowns and whatnot 5 years ago, and it made an absolute mess of everyone's social network. And most people are still rebuilding that social network. But even if it hadn't been for all of that, just because we're human, we need to reach out to other people, we need to be around other people, and no, social media does not fill that. No, video games don't fill that. Even talking to people on Zoom really doesn't fill that need. So we need to have people that we have face-to-face interactions with, just to be you. Okay, so this is one of the big questions that new hams ask, where do I start? Okay, there's not a standard answer to this. So this is a picture of an event where this young lady who's cheering has just made her very first contact ever. Okay, you know, you need some help to make that first contact. It's one of the biggest hurdles to becoming an active ham. You know, yeah, we're like, oh yeah, making contact, no big deal, I just do this. Yeah, well, it's not that simple. And how you make that first contact isn't the same for everyone. I mean, this is an HF setup, not the usual way to do things. You know, a lot of people do it on VHF. Maybe they do it at a GOTA station. You know, there's a lot of ways to make that first contact. But generally, this goes a lot more smoothly if they've got somebody to help them, an owner. Maybe even a team of owners. This is another question that new hams ask. Who can help me? You know, who can show me how to solder, which is what's going on in this picture? Who can help me pick out my radio? Who can help me put up an antenna? Who can help me understand how to put up an antenna with my HOA restrictions? Who can help me troubleshoot interference between my car and my mobile rig? How do I even put an antenna on my car? You know? There's a lot of need to have somebody to help them to answer those questions or help them figure out the answer. There's a lot of things you can learn to do on YouTube, and there's a lot of specific things you can learn to do in ham radio on YouTube, but you really can't learn to be a ham on YouTube. It's still kind of an old-fashioned one-on-one apprenticeship kind of deal. Okay, and then, you know, we're all asking what's something new. This picture is winter field day. These folks are trying out not just operating portable, but operating portable in the cold. And as you can see, they're having a great time. So clubs encourage even active hams to try new things and not get stale. And then this one is really important too. Who will be my friend? People who are trying out new activities like ham radio are also generally looking for new friends. Okay? Unless they have some really strong outside motivation to do ham radio, if they don't connect with other hams, other people in ham radio, they're not going to remain active in the hobby. So this one's important. So let's talk about who we need to reach out to. Who is going to help us grow amateur radio? Okay? We talked a lot about new hams, but there's also a huge group of people who are inactive hams. They're licensed, they've been licensed for a while, but they haven't been on the air in some time. I've been one of those. And then we also have a group of relocating hams. You know, they were active in the hobby and they had a club and then they moved to another state. And these people need a place in our clubs so we can show them how things are done here. These are the local repeaters. These are some local customs. These are some activities that we like to do around here. Here's where we do field day. Okay? So why do people become active hams? It's a change in their life. Often this happens at a change of phase in their life, when a bunch of other things are happening. Or there's a change in their circumstances in life somehow. And then there's quite a few people who are inspired to become hams because they have been through a disaster and they saw how communications and other services got disrupted. And they're like, hams. They came in and they could talk to people, and you know, some of the motivation is, I want to be able to talk to people even when all else fails. And some of the motivation can be, I want to be one of the people who's helping others when all else fails. Okay, so it's a change of life phases where we're seeing a lot of people coming into the hobby. They go off to a new school. So they go from a middle school to a high school, maybe their high school has a ham radio related program. Or they go off to college, and at their college there's something related to ham radio. ARRL has been promoting a lot of college clubs. Here in Huntsville at UAH, they even have programs where they kind of need a ham radio license to do some of their research work because they're tracking balloons. Okay, so those are some times when younger people might get motivated. Or sometimes they get out of school and suddenly they have money and maybe a little more free time. Another thing that can happen is if their kids get involved in a program that involves ham radio, whether it's through Scouts or school or something else, the parents tend to come along. Keep an eye on the kids, maybe to provide transportation and logistical support. But if the kids are interested in ham radio, the parents are gonna be there, and maybe they'll become hams too. Okay? Another time that we see a lot of people coming into the hobby become empty nesters. The kids are finally out of the house, and wow, they have time. And if they aren't paying huge college tuition bills, they have money too. But it's the time that's the big thing, because we know that ham radio takes time, and it can be done on the cheap. So this empty nester phase where people for the first time in 25 or 30 years suddenly have time to think about themselves and what they want to do is a time when a lot of people will come into amateur radio. And then the other one is right about the time they retire. So the pre-retirees are going, what am I going to do with my time in retirement? And the new retirees are going, oh my goodness, I've got all this time. What am I going to do with it? Okay? So any of these pieces of life are very common times that you see people picking up new activities, and ham radio can be one of them. So, change of circumstances. So, we talked about relocation. So you're moving to a new state, a new town. Maybe there was something about your old place that made ham radio difficult, like an HOA. And maybe you moved to a new place where that's not a problem. Or maybe you moved from a place where you had an hour and a half commute every day to a place where you work from home, or maybe you have a 20-minute commute, and oh goodness, we now have 10 more hours in the week. Another thing that can happen is divorce. So this tends to completely disrupt people's family life and schedules, and particularly non-custodial parents may find that they have a lot more free time. And then also you can have illness or disability where people who've been out and active and doing things suddenly find that they need to spend a lot more time doing something sedentary or doing something at home. And ham radio is one of those things that they actually can do when many of their previous activities just aren't possible. And then of course there's disasters. Pick your favorite disaster, natural or unnatural. These tend to be a point where people's lives are temporarily disrupted, and often they reevaluate the priorities and how they look at things. So ham radio is of course active in a disaster situation, generally in a very positive way, and that kind of thing can attract people to ham radio. If you go and talk to the lady who's organizing the W4AW station, she was actually motivated to become a ham by the 2011 tornado outbreak here in Alabama. Okay. So let's talk about what a vibrant club is really going to look like. First of all, it is active. Second of all, it's welcoming. Second, you can actually find it. And they also encourage new leaders to come up from the membership and come up with new ideas. So let's look at each one of these properties. Vibrant clubs are out there doing things, okay? They could be doing on-air activities like this setup for field day. You can be doing educational activities. Maybe that's giving license classes. Maybe that's classes where they build something or teach a ham radio related skill. maybe even it's a drill. Running a net is a marvelous educational activity that ham radio folks can do, and that counts as an on-air activity as well. And they do social activities. You know, sometimes, even though you're a ham radio club, you can still throw a party. So here are some on-air activities. Public service events. So this is a Century bike ride. This is net control. So races, events, anybody in the community that needs communication services, you know, on a non-emergency kind of basis. One of the aspects of this bike ride is that it goes through some sections of southern Tennessee where you ain't getting a cell phone signal out. Oh yeah, there's a big hill in one of those places where there's often some ugly accidents. So ham radio operators have called in emergency services for some very serious accidents there when there was no cell service available. And some of those people got prompt medical services because of hams. So we are very popular with that crowd, okay? So that's one of the kinds of things you can do as an on-air activity. Obviously, field day and winter field day, big on-air activities, all kinds of nets. We have some training nets here in this county. We have some let's just chat about things nets in this county. So there's a lot going on with nets. And of course, POTA is a wonderful and very popular on-air activity these days. And what's more fun than doing POTA with your friends? Or even teaching your friends how to do it. So educational activities, we talked about license classes. Here in Huntsville, we do have an active program with teaching license classes. Programs, so you know, as part of your meeting, you can have an educational program about anything you want, but people can learn a lot from those, and that's where a lot of that inspiration to do new things can come from. And then you can have maker events where you actually make something. HARC has been very successful with their Build Night program. We last year worked with building Arduino thingies. This is another picture of a soldering class. So we built antennas. We built antennas for foxhounds. There's all kinds of things that you can do for educational activities. And then we have social activities, like this Christmas party. So meetings. Meetings are social events. People come to them because they can interact face-to-face with other people. HARC has been extremely successful with social hour before the formal part of the meeting. I think it's more popular than the formal part of the meeting, actually. You can have parties, all kinds of parties, indoor parties, outdoor parties, ham radio themed parties, holiday parties, whatever you want. Or you can even have group trips, like, hey, let's all go to the Huntsville Hamfest as a group, and you see a bunch of people here today doing that kind of thing. So those are all some of the range of activities that a club can do. And a club that's doing stuff like this is going to tend to attract new membership and keep the membership that they have and keep those members active, both in the club and on the air. So library clubs are welcoming. So some of this is a little embarrassing. I'm not going to mention any names, but I will say that I have seen some of these things, okay? Your club needs to welcome everyone to your meetings, whether they're licensed or not. Now, obviously, you have to follow FCC rules of letting people get on the air. You can't just take an unlicensed person and turn them loose with an 8-amp radio. You need a control operator. But you can be a control operator for them. There's people who show up at amateur radio clubs that aren't licensed, but are considering becoming licensed. So maybe they kind of want to see what's going on, what can I do? And they may also be in the back of their mind going, is this a bunch of people I really want to hang out with? You know? So consider your unlicensed people who are coming to be, for the most part, proto-hams, and welcome them on that basis, okay? Don't make fun of people for being different. Yes, I've seen this happen. You know, maybe they have a different haircut. Maybe they have a different hair color. Maybe they're from a different culture. You know, maybe they're just not quite like me or my friends. That's okay. If they're a ham, you already have something in common with them. Even if they just want to be a ham, you have something in common with them. So, you know, try to avoid the cliquey exclusionary, we're just gonna hang out with the people we know and things like that, okay? Hopefully your club doesn't practice that. Also, be kid-friendly. Now that doesn't mean kid-focused, it means kid-friendly. Kid-friendly means no one's gonna be embarrassed to bring their kid to your organization, okay? And if there are activities that maybe are a little dangerous, like say soldering, the kids should be either not involved with or very carefully supervised. Make sure that that's the kind of thing that happens. Just have an awareness of this. Because, you know, that's how you get parents to keep bringing their kids. Okay, vibrant clubs are easy to find, okay? So how do people find radio clubs? They Google it just like everyone else and everything else. So you need an attractive, well-built website, and it needs to be frequently updated. You know, if they go and look at your website and the last activity that's mentioned on the website was from 2003, they're gonna go, yeah, this club's dead. You know, even if the last activity that was mentioned was from 2023, they're gonna go, no, okay? So, for my YL club, we update the website monthly. HARC updates their website on a little less regular schedule, but you know, every week it tells you exactly what the program is and all of that. So there's new content there once a week. Okay? And a vibrant club may very well have an active social media presence, you know? Are you on Facebook? Are you on Instagram? Are you on the kind of social media that the groups you're trying to attract are there? Keep in mind, the social media platforms that the kids and the students are using and the empty nesters and retirees are using, probably completely different. Probably completely different. Not sure what happened there. Okay? So your club is probably going to need a dedicated person for your website.
Battery's probably down.
And you're probably going to need a dedicated person for your social media. And these may not even be the same person, okay? You may want to do targeted advertisement. What does that mean? That means we put information about our clubs in the local Gigapark store. It doesn't mean we take out an ad in the newspaper. But if there's places where hams might be expected to go with much greater frequency than the general population, maybe you can put up a sign, okay? Your public service presence is a form of advertisement, you know? If people see you setting up on the church lawn at field day, or people see you operating radios at the bike race, or at the marathon, or they see the people out at the rest stops, they're gonna go, oh, those are the ham people. What a cool hobby. Are most of them maybe interested in ham radio? No, but some of them might be, okay? So when you do the public service stuff, hang banners. Make it really obvious who you are and that you're there at all, okay? Also, make sure that you have regular channels of communication with your existing members, okay? The traditional way to do that is, of course, a newsletter. If you've got a smaller club, maybe it's something less formal than that. Maybe you just send out an email once a month. So our meeting this month is this time, this place, and this is what we're talking about this month, or these are some issues on the agenda this month, okay? So make sure that your current membership that you already have a good handle on, understands what your club is actively doing, and try and bring them into your activities. They're not going to show up for your activities if they didn't know it was happening. Finally, your vibrant clubs encourage new leaders. Okay? New leaders bring new ideas and new skills to your club. I don't care how fabulous your club president is, there's going to be stuff that she doesn't know. Or things you can do in ham radio, she isn't interested in. But if you bring in a new president, they're going to generally have a different approach and different activities. And that's fabulous. Because, you know, the stuff that the past president did that was working, probably continue working. The stuff the past president was doing that's not working, yeah, probably not going to continue. It's going to be replaced by something we'll see if it does work. Okay? So that's one of the reasons you need a global leadership. The other thing is that your current leadership is going to get tired of it after a while. Okay? You got to give your people a break or they're going to burn out and then you're going to have nothing. Okay. How do you bring people into leadership positions? Start with small tasks. Don't make the president right out of the box. Say, hey, could you bring some radios to this event? Or could you organize our winter field day event? Or, gee, you're really good with wire antenna builds. Could you do a wire antenna build night for us? Or anything like that. Okay? And for your current leadership, find understudies for them. Okay? Find people that you might want to slide into that role next year and have them start learning what's needed this year. This we found is particularly critical for the person in charge of our field day efforts and many of our public service events because it's only done once a year and it's really helpful if you see it done from the inside before you try it yourself. So that's what a vibrant club looks like. Okay, so we'll go back to Josh and he's got some stuff to talk to us about for how ARRL is supporting your clubs and helping them be vibrant.
First off, for about 5 minutes, any questions for Lisa?
Okay.
Move forward.
Yes.
I reached out to a number of larger clubs and trying to find out about their marketing, their advertising. What kind of a budget do clubs typically, I mean, I'm sure it varies, but what kind of money is dedicated to that? I mean, a lot of this is service, but a lot of it needs, if you're gonna reach new people, you gotta find them.
Right, so in the case of Park, we had some banners made, and you can check with your local banner shop, but you're looking at $50 to $100 for a banner. We had some business cards printed. Vista Print is pretty cheap for that, but you know, again, you're looking at that same general range of price, depending on how many you want and where they get printed and how complicated they are. Most of the social media stuff is free. You're gonna have to figure out how expensive a website you want. That ranges everywhere from free to it can be expensive. So there's a hosting fee associated with that, and then there's a getting somebody to do the actual work to build your website. Hopefully you have that talent in-house that can be done volunteer. So if you wanted to go all out for a fairly large club, $200 or $300 would go a long ways.
Do many clubs outsource the creativity? I mean, are they all internal?
So let me jump in on that one, sorry. For instance, this year we're celebrating the year of the club and we had the website contest. I believe all of the winners are doing all theirs in-house. So, you know, that to give it to an example, they have somebody in the club that's doing all their web design and everything.
So I'm giving a talk tomorrow at 1 o'clock about Huntsville's YL Club. And I actually organized a significant marketing campaign for that. And my talk includes a very detailed discussion of exactly what we did. So if you want to come to that, there's more details there.
One more.
So, I apologize in advance for throwing this one out there, but I suspect a lot of us deal with it, is that clubs, for the longest time will stagnate, and they'll turn into social clubs, and there's a lot of, or a lack of inertia to go out to do these types of things.
Hold that for when I get done, because we're gonna talk about some of that in the next half.
I'm also going to talk about exactly that problem tomorrow, and with a case study.
And we've got a tool that I'll show you that may help you with that. So. All right, what, last one?
I'm sorry, hi, my name is Mike. Thank you, it's a great presentation. One of the questions that I have is, I'm not an officer on the board, I write the newsletter for our club, but we still mostly rely on people's personal emails. I was curious if you've seen a shift towards clubs, like contracted with Google for a Gmail account, their custom domain, or for Microsoft, so that officer transitions are easier, like the president can move to the president and you change things, instead of having to always rely on people's personal email addresses.
Hark does exactly what you're talking about,
Mhm.
and trust me, it has made life considerably easier as we transition between different officers.
Perfect.
They have a system that's not any of those, but there are a lot of solutions for that out
Of
there.
course, yeah. Thank you.
All right, and to tag on to what you said, since I manage the affiliated club program nationwide, we're seeing some clubs that are doing, like you said, doing the president, and it makes their club updates a whole lot easier. Even if they change officers, the primary email still goes to the same web address. So there are some benefits to that. So we are seeing some do it. I wouldn't say the majority at this point, and I'm talking nationwide. Not the majority at this point, but yeah, we're starting to see some. So, as I just said, I manage the affiliated club program for ARRL in Newington, Connecticut, and along with Aries, along with working with all the affiliated club coordinators and the section managers all over the country. So I get to see a lot. I get a really broad picture of what's going on, and we're happy this year to be celebrating the Year of the Club. And why are we celebrating 2026 as Year of the Club? This year happens to be the 100th year of the Field Services Organization at ARRL. So for 100 years, we have built out and developed our field programs to support amateur radio, really the boots on the ground, so to speak, in the local communities. And clubs are the key to that. Clubs have always been what that field service organization has been built around. And probably us, like a lot of other clubs, it was going along great, we just kind of let it go along great. And unfortunately, that's what a lot of our clubs do. They go along great, and they're going along great until all of a sudden they're like, where'd everybody go? But as Lisa's talked about, clubs that are up doing things, clubs that are active, are going to be more active clubs. Are going to be healthier clubs. The more active you are, the healthier you are. So this year we've been working on several things to help promote Year of the Club. Added some new programs. We've developed a new affiliated clubs website, which is what the QR code I hope goes to. We've really worked to support and grow and update information. We're going through that right now to update all the information for the affiliated clubs and the special service clubs, which that should be done annually. But we're really working. We found some that it's been several years since they've updated their information, and we're trying to work with the clubs, reach out to those clubs. Are you still there? Are you still active? Are you still involved? Let's get things growing and going from there. With that, we're excited about a program that we worked with the American Amateur Radio Club up in Connecticut, started this and developed this program, and it's a good model to roll out nationwide. And what the Marconi program, which in this case it's motivating amateur radio clubs to open new initiatives. It's materials and guides and suggestions for getting your club active and getting them up doing things. It's activities to go do. It's things that you may have some members that are interested in this, some members that are interested in this, and some members that are interested in this. get up and do some of these things and see what hits. There again, a healthier club is an active club. So the healthier you are, typically will be tied back to the fact that you're active. So we're encouraging activity. I would urge any of you, all the clubs, to check out ARRL.org/Marconi. It's simple, but it takes a little time. It takes a little planning. Honestly, it takes a little initiative. And along with that, what they're doing now through this continued effort from this Meriden Amateur Radio Club, they have now taken another club that was struggling under their wing, and they're inviting them to get involved with some of the same activities, and that club now is beginning to grow. It's been going on about a year now. And so we're encouraging that as another model to, if you've got a club that's healthy and doing well and doing things, and you're, say, a county over, or you're 15 miles from each other, or whatever, see if you can work together and partner up. And not necessarily join the clubs together or merge the clubs. That may wind up being the best answer, but just to help grow. If that healthy club that's doing activities and involved in things can interest the club that's maybe less active, and they work together, then the next thing you know, that less active club is now doing and building and growing on their own, and they're like, and we're seeing that. Sadly, the Newington Amateur Radio League in Newington, Connecticut, which is the headquarters for ARRL, was struggling. They were down to about 10 members, and I think the average age was about 82. And I'm not exaggerating. So they're now up to about 25 members, and this is over a year. They're up to about 25, and they've got several all mixed age, literally from in their 20s and up. And they're doing things. They're active, and they're meeting monthly and doing activities at their meetings. I think one of the things that we fall into, that's so easy to fall into, is let's meet for coffee on Saturday morning. You meet, you have coffee, and you leave. That's great. Like Lisa said, sometimes you need those social times. But I think if that's all you ever do, you lose the focus of what a ham club should be. And so that's been a really neat thing to watch these two clubs work together to build and grow what they've been doing. One of the things that I briefly mentioned it earlier, we had the part of the year of the club this year. We had the ARRL newsletter contest, where we had clubs from all over the country submit. In fact, we had clubs. Don't think we had an entry from Alaska for either one of the competitions, but I think we had entries from all other 49 states, and I believe there was one from Puerto Rico. So we had entries from entries from the whole country. We had more than 80 entries into both the website and the newsletter contest, and we did announce the winners last week, and we have several of them that are here today, and we're going to actually present those awards this afternoon at 2, right in this room at the ARRL Forum. So we're excited about that. We're excited about the future of clubs. We're hoping that this will continue to spark interest in clubs and being active. We believe in clubs. I can tell you that there was an attitude from a few people several years ago at ARRL that clubs are dead. And I can tell you right now that the administration at ARRL, the board at ARRL, does not buy that. Clubs aren't dead. Clubs are growing and have the opportunity to grow. And we're trying to give you some tools, give all the clubs some tools to help you do that. I'm available. Clubs@arrl.org is the easiest way to email us in my department if there's something we can help you with. But I strongly urge you, reach out to your section managers, reach out to your affiliated club coordinators, reach out to your people around you. They understand your demographic. They understand maybe who are in your club that I'm not going to be able to help you with. I mean, I can help you with general things, But, you know, we urge you, to reach out to people locally first and see if they can help you get some things going. And a lot of them can, especially your affiliate club coordinators and your section managers. So, how many how many we got from Alabama here? Okay, you expect that. Good job. Mississippi? All right. Tennessee? Let's see, Louisiana.
Georgia.
Georgia?
Georgia.
Georgia and Florida.
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts, there we go. Connecticut. Where else? Who we got? New York.
Indiana.
Where else?
Indiana.
Indiana. All right. So see right here. Yes, sir.
I'm sorry to ask another question.
Well, hang on, hold that thought just a second. But as we see right here, we've got people from all over the country to share information with, to share ideas with. And the fact that what works in New York may not work in Alabama, but you might get an idea and go, ooh, we could try this. We may not be able to do the whole thing, but I like this idea. We did our MCOM forum yesterday, all-day training track on MCOM, and it wasn't intended to be mind-blowing and set your world on fire. It was intended to be an information sharing time, and I think I've got feedback from nearly everyone in the room, and all of them have said, wow, I came away with some things that I had not thought about, that will work for us, that we can do, that we can ask, that we can incorporate. So that's what these events, when you come, we all come together, that's what we're doing here, is give an opportunity to share. Go ahead.
Where might we see the entries that were the top 10, whatever? Do we have access to that?
I don't have the top 10. I don't know that they judged it that way.
Oh.
We've got, I mean, like, we did top 3.
Well, any of them.
But they're going to be highlighting some of them, especially the winners, in the December QST. And there will be some highlights on some of them going forth. I'm actually the editor of the club letter. So if you get the club newsletter, if you don't, you can go into your opt-in page on the ARRL membership. If you're a member, and you can get those club membership start getting the club letter. So the club letter is going to have several features over the next few months with different groups. Yes, sir.
If you want to see the top one, come see me.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
To answer his question, every issue of QSD has one for that month. So he
Has a club highlight spotlight. Yeah, he's asking about the winners of the contest.
Well, the winners, but
Yeah, he was asking about the top 10 of the contest.
Well, whatever.
Yeah, but yeah, been doing a club feature every month in QST that has information too. So, yeah. Yes, sir.
Just to punch an idea that both of you have been talking about and alluding to, about the coordination or the effort, the outreach to people to get them into the clubs. I think at a higher level, clubs need to outreach to each other.
I agree.
Clubs need to come up with a theme of what they're good at and coordinate with clubs that have different outlooks. So, like, as an example, one club is good at organizing Hamfest, another club is good at organizing POTAs and stuff like that, and coordinate the activities at a higher level.
And that's exactly with these two clubs that are working together in Connecticut, the Marconi program. They're actually doing that because the one club that was kind of struggling.
You find more volunteers.
They have
you
one or
got
two.
cross
They have
clubs.
one or two areas that they were really strong at. So they're actually helping to grow each other.
Yes,
So
exactly.
even though this one club was stronger, the fact that the smaller club is getting stronger too, it's actually boosted both of them. So, yes, sir.
Yeah, and that's one of the, I hate to say that, but that's one of the strengths of POTA. When you're in a park doing this, people come up and start asking questions.
Right.
And POTA could be two people, operating the key. And these
Well,
people come up and say, what are you doing? Who are you?
And my background is MCOM in emergency management. POTA is every day, anytime, your group, your club, that's an exercise for MCOM preparedness, so, yes, sir.
So Josh, last weekend up in Massachusetts, we had our Northeast
Right.
Convention.
Yeah, I would have loved to have been there and would have been there, but I was in Louisville the week before and knew I
Okay.
was coming here this week, and I need a weekend off.
Well, one thing I wanted to mention, on Fridays, they do these tracks, so
Mhm.
they might do
Yep.
Skywarn or whatever,
Yep.
but for the past couple of years, we've been doing a club track.
Mhm.
And we invite clubs from the area to come
Right.
and do a presentation
Right.
on what's working in their club,
And what's
share
just
ideas
that,
with other
because they
clubs.
invited me to go talk to their,
Yeah.
I was at
Yeah,
the Hacker Convention.
yeah,
So maybe they could do something like that
yeah,
here.
yeah.
I mean, you're
Something,
drawing clubs from all over the
exactly,
area.
good idea. Yes, sir.
John, it's really kind of not easy to navigate the ARRL website,
We know.
especially to try to find.
It's not for us, it's not for us either.
Well, I'm trying to be nice.
No,
Especially to try to find section managers. It's kind of difficult.
That's on page 16 of QS, 16 of QST every month.
And at one point, we had a local Hamfest, and one of the section managers was there. And he was talking to us, and there was a guy starting a new club. He said, "Was there anything on ARRL that can help me organize and get me on the right path?" He said, "Well, I think there used to be, but I don't think anybody has it." It's like, this is the year of the club. Why, there should be something from ARRL to help us.
It's right there.
Yeah, but this guy said there wasn't anything, he was a section manager,
It's-
and that was earlier
And
this
this,
year.
and this has been, that page has been developed this year.
Okay, so it might have been after the fact.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
This is specific to young people, high school seniors, college age. What do they want from ham radio, and what,
That's what they want.
okay,
They want it right here. They want to be able to bring, and that doesn't mean they don't want an HT.
right,
There's a group of eighth graders walking around out here right now talking on HTs, having a blast, enjoying the Hamfest.
got it.
But they want app capabilities,
And
Okay.
they're building them.
and they're building it on their own.
Oh,
And they're making them and taking
Yeah,
them apart. and-
they are. Our Arduino projects are fabulous with kids.
Meshtastic.
Meshtastic is a,
Or,
yeah, it's a phenomenal, because they can run it off of here. As long as they've got their node on them or around them, you know, they're operating it from here. And no, Meshtastic is not ham radio, but it's a phenomenal tool.
Gateway drug.
It's a gateway to ham
I didn't say drug.
radio. Yeah.
Meshtastic is there all.
So,
It's a tool.
it's a tool in the toolbox. Yes, sir.
over in northwest Alabama,
Right.
we have various schools and universities. What we are running into is all the youngsters go, why do I need ham radio? I have a cell phone.
Well, there are programs, so how many of you have heard of the Teachers Institute that we have at ARRL?
Yes.
So we're running about 17 classes a year, bringing teachers in from all over the country at no cost. Well, they have to pay a $100 fee. It's a $100 fee for the week for them to come to ARRL, get trained, and come home with, if they aren't already licensed, with their ham radio license, with an HT and some equipment to use in the schools. But more importantly, they're coming home with inspiration to teach kids, and they're coming home with curriculum to incorporate amateur radio into their STEM education programs. Most of these are STEM education teachers. They're in the sciences and the technologies, in math, and they're walking away from a week at ARRL with tools in their hand and excitement about it to begin to teach kids. And I'm happy to say we're doing all of that, bringing all of them in from funded through donors. It's not coming out of the membership. It's not coming out of the general fund.
When did that?
When did we don't do that?
It goes on nearly all summer long. They've just completed, but it's mostly summer. And the beauty is it all counts as CEUs for the teachers that need CEUs anyway. And most of the teachers, the feedback we're getting from the teachers is we're coming back from a class of required CEUs that we have to do, going, holy cow, we didn't go get CEUs. We went, this was great. Yes, sir.
Best week of my life.
What, tell us about it real quick.
I went in June of 2025, and I was an elementary school teacher, and spent a week at ARRL headquarters. I moved up my license from general to the amateur extra. While I was there, it was a great week.
Thanks.
I'm his club president, and he came back fired up, and it was a fantastic program.
All right, yes, sir. And then your name.
And if you've got one of these teachers in your community, the best thing they can have is a radio club behind it.
Absolutely.
Because our teacher,
And
our
I'm glad
teacher
you-
was not a ham before she became the STEM.
And I'm glad you said that, because, and this is one thing I'm gonna tell you, that, and we're actually running short on time, but we will get to you in just a second. One of the challenges is a club's not gonna walk up to a school in this day and age and say, hey, we're here, but we wanna show ham radio in your school to your kids. With the challenges and the security issues and the issues all over the country, schools ain't letting you in. If you've got a teacher that's there, that knows people that they're working with, that teacher can come in and say, can come to the administration and say, look, I've got this group of folks that wants to help me do X, Y, Z on this day. Can we bring them in? And most times they're gonna allow that. But the club's not just gonna cold call a school and say, hey, we wanna come teach. It's just, folks, in this day and age, it's not gonna happen. And if I had a
School
kid.
board member who was a member of our club who got us in.
Yeah,
But another good way to get into the schools is through the library.
yeah.
The public library.
So, yeah, I mean, if I had a kid in school, I wouldn't want a bunch of us, no offense to any of us, but I wouldn't want a bunch of us walking around the schools just free reign either, so. You know.
I'd also recommend that you reach out to your county extension service.
Yeah, good
And
idea.
talk to 4-H, because they have several after-school clubs.
Right.
And you'll find a 4-H agent that wants to help you.
Yeah, good idea. Yes, sir.
Any thoughts on expanding the Teachers Academy curriculum to
So,
offer it regionally,
so in the
maybe?
well, we did some this year. There actually was one here. There's been one, I know there's been a couple on the West Coast. They just did one on Long Island. So we are doing some regional. But so 5 years ago, we were doing like 5 a year. We're doing 17 a year now.
Yeah.
So we've already expanded, and those 17 aren't all at headquarters. There's some of those that are regional. So yes, there is interest in doing that. It's just funding. You know, we're growing that to try to build it. It's a good thing. So, anything else, real quick, before we have to wrap it up? It's because we're right nearly to time. All right, thank you all. I really.